Hi there, it's Jo here from Creative Empowerment. Today's video is how to with Oracle cards. This is part 3 of a 4-part series. So if you've missed part 1 and part 2, they'll be linked in the description box below, and they cover the basics. So the first video covers what is an Oracle deck, how to use one, the difference between Oracle and Tarot, what to do with a new deck, and how to pick the right deck for you. Number 2 looks at more about shuffling, asking a question, and picking the right card for you and accessing the divine through Oracle cards. If those things sound like what you want to know, perhaps you need to go to those videos first. Today's video is about multiple card reading. So how do you go from looking at one card and then putting together a message when you're looking at more than one card? So we're going to jump into that in a minute. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, or so you don't miss a video. So we're going to use the Spirit Animal Oracle today by Colette Baron-Reid, and if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I'm quite a Colette Baron-Reid fan. I think she does particularly good Oracle decks, and I have a video of my Oracle collection. If you're interested, you can go and watch that one where I talk about her decks a bit more. How do you get started? What's the first thing that you do? Preparation. This is the most important thing to start off with, preparing to do the reading. So my preparation involves me doing a short meditation. I will ground and center myself. I will connect to the earth. I will connect to spirit, my guides, my higher self, and I will ask for protection as well. And I'll ask for guidance to come through that is for my highest and best good, and that is with in alignment for me. So I do that every time before I do a reading. Before I do a pick card reading, I expand on that and make it a little bit longer and incorporate some other things. But basically, I prepare myself, my space where I am. Sometimes I'll cleanse it if it feels like it needs cleansing. I might use some sound, or I might use incense or sage or whatever. But I'll prepare my space before I start. Now, you don't have to do that all the time. You may simply pick up some cards and go from there. It's really up to you what you feel like you need on that day. Yeah, and how reverent or how much of a deal you want to make it, because it can be really simple. You pick up the cards and you go from there. But I do like to tune in. I like to ask my guides to come in. I like to ask for protection as well, because I want to hear only messages that are for my highest and best good. The next thing is for you to choose a deck. But before that, I feel you need to pick your question, because sometimes I'm drawn to a particular deck when I have a particular question. Sometimes I might not even know what the question is, and I'm drawn to a particular deck first and then the question comes. Either way, you'll find that these two things might be interchangeable, the question and the deck. But you might get guidance to use a particular deck for a particular question. How do you come up with a good question? This is covered in video 2. So we want a question that is open-ended and that I get some information on. So we want to open up something. We don't want to close it down. We don't want to narrow our focus like this, so that the only thing that we're wanting is whatever we think we need to hear. We want to open it up and actually allow the divine to come through. We want to access this divine information through the cards. We want to open ourselves up. And when I say open ourselves up, I mean release all wanting, needing to know. Because we often pick the cards up because we want to know, we think we need to know. So this is a 3-card reading, and there's lots of 3-card readings. You can find them all over the internet, or Google or YouTube. Colette Baron-Reid gives you 2 options for 3-card readings, and I'm going to do the second one. So we could use 2 cards, but today I wanted to do 3 cards because it kind of pushes you that little bit further. But what I would suggest is, when you're starting off, find a plan to use. Don't just do anything, because you need to know what these card positions mean so that you can gain more information around them. So this one is her version 2, and position 1 will be what is in motion now, what are the underlying hidden influences here? What do I need to do now to remain on the path or course correct to remain in alignment with my highest good? So my question is going to be, I'm going to ask about my YouTube channel, would like some information about how my YouTube channel is going and what can I expect with my YouTube channel. I know that with the shuffling, I can shuffle anyway. You can see part 2 for shuffling. I want to remain relaxed while I'm shuffling. I don't want to allow my focus to wander. So I want to remain on topic about my question. So I want to know what is happening currently with my YouTube channel. And the question here is, what is in motion now in regards to my YouTube channel? So now if something flies out, I'll take it. But if not, I'll find a point where I'm happy, where I feel like I'm getting a message to say, okay, my body has just relaxed. Okay, so I'm going to spread the cards out very, very uneasily. Okay, so I've got the cards spread out. My first question is, what is in motion in regards to my YouTube channel? So I want the first card. I'm drawn to this card, so I'm going to place it there. And it is number 2, Antelope Spirit. Life is speeding up. I'll place it there. My next one is position 2. What are the underlying hidden influences there? Now I could pick my cards up and shuffle and repeat that question. However, I infuse the cards with my energy about my YouTube channel. So I feel confident that I'll get the message that I need to get. And when I look at this question, what are the underlying hidden influences here? Then I allow myself to be drawn to the next card. So for number 2, it feels like 2 cards want to come. So I'm going to follow my intuition because 2 cards felt like they wanted to come. And we have Eagle Spirit, Spirit has your back, and Fox Spirit, think on your feet. Then we have the last card coming out here is, what do I need to do now to remain on this path or course correct to remain in alignment with my highest good? So this question is a good one because it's assuming that either you're on the right course, which means that you'll get, some advice about how to keep moving forward. And then the other option here is, if that's not happening, you'll get a card that gives you advice about what way to go forward. So it doesn't ask 2 questions, it kind of asks 2 questions within one. So I want to know, what do I do now to remain on this path or course correct to remain in alignment with my highest good? And I'm drawn over here. Watch and wait. Thank you. Now, I just want to show you that card. So that's Seahorse Spirit, watch and wait. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing before we start looking at ways to read these cards are the colours. But all the colours are very similar. We have the browns going into the blues and greens, and sort of ochre colours, sort of orangey, earthy colours moving through here too. So now that we have our cards, before I go any further, I want to look at any messages that are coming to me. And I would suggest to have something to write on, which I don't have, but I should have. Anything that I'm noticing straight away, and the thing that I am noticing are the colours of the cards. They are all very, very similar. And they're like, some of them are in the reverse position in the sense that the colours are going the reverse way, but they're so similar. The first card is Antelope Spirit, and it's life is speeding up. Just making sure I put those back in the right position. So what I'm noticing here is this blue-green moving into earthy tones. Now, at the moment, that doesn't mean terribly much to me, but I am noticing it. So what it means is that I am starting to interact, that I am being guided to have a look at certain things. Now, when you're new to this process, you may instantly want to go to a certain card, and it's kind of like your guides don't want you to do that. Your guides want you to be relaxed and not have that I want. It's about being a little bit more removed from the situation. So now that I'm looking at these, I'm not sensing a whole heap of information coming to me. I want to start looking at each individual card in its place and see what information I get. So that as a whole, I noticed that there's a lot of earth tones. There's a lot of the orange, which is what I'm wearing today. I also have the orange carnelian out. So thinking about that, it's like that this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that will give me great pleasure before I even start looking at this message. And I feel like I have a lot of support too. This message is coming through that I have a lot of support here. So again, that's more of an intuitive hit, but you need to go with whatever it is that comes up for you, because that's important. So the first card is Antelope Spirit. Life is speeding up. Now here we look at, like we did last time in the last video, we look at everything that's in this card. We look at the number, so it's a number 2. Number 2 is all about balance. We look at, this is speed happening here, as the card states. It's got some information down here, so we use that. If you know something about antelope, this is where you bring that past knowledge in. If you know things about spirit animals, then you bring that information in. Life is speeding up, and then there's like a whoosh of going on. The other thing that I get when I look at this card, and this is it's like my relationship with this card, and you'll develop those relationships over time, is that I see a DNA thing happening. Those strands of the woven antelope horns, they give me this feeling of DNA strands, the way they loop into each other. I'm not doing a very good loop there. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. And then in the background, we also have the antelope coming straight forward, like it's like, there's movement, there's some action happening here. So then now that we've got this card, we've had a look at it. Now we want to look at the position that it's in. What is it it's talking about? So what is in motion? Literally is that it is in motion, that things are starting to speed up, that there's starting to be some momentum here. And, antelope can kind of look like one of those animals that's a bit startled. And it does have that look here, but then if you look, there's the face of the antelope and it's looking you directly in the eye. So I feel like what is in motion here is kind of like I'm seeing myself a little bit. I'm looking myself in the face, which is kind of what I'm doing with the camera. Now at this point, when you're doing a reading and you're beginning, you want to now look at the guidebook. You don't have to at this point. You could read your guidebook after you get all of your intuitive messages, or after you've had a really good look at what's going on in that card. And I'm not going to read it all, because as I've said in part 2, you want to be drawn to the things that you're drawn to, because what's happening is your divine team are trying to narrow this down for you. It's not you narrowing it down for yourself. If you're aware, if you're relaxed, they are going to give you the messages that you need. Life is speeding up. The oracle message here is, when antelope spirit rushes into your life, you are being reminded of the quickening of your personal evolution as a powerful co-creator. You are being told unequivocally that it's time to get moving, set your intentions, and to take action towards making your dreams real. There is an intensity you can feel, and it's important to take advantage of this energy right now. If you have a plan for your career or financial abundance, now is the time to step it up. If you're asking about relationship, take that first move. Just know that the intentions you have to set in motion are coming together now at warp speed. Stay alert and keep up. Things are getting interesting when Antelope Spirit calls to move you quickly. So there's this speeding up happening for me. And this position is all about movement. So that means it intensifies the meaning of this card. So it means that this movement is happening quickly. This card position is all about what is in motion. So it means that there is a lot of things happening, and I may not be able to see it, but that's what's happening. So now I'm going to move to the next card position. The next card position is all about what are the underlying hidden influences here. And so I really want to understand this because things are moving. So I want to know why. Why are things moving? What's moving? You know, they're the things that I want to know. So I'm looking at these first two cards. They're both in their 20s. So I have 23 and 27, and they're coming out that way. 23 is a 5 number. That's about change. So I have a limited, knowledge about numerology, and I'm using my background knowledge of numerology with my numbers. So I reduce them down to a 1-digit number, sometimes double digits in case of master numbers, and sometimes 10. And this number here equals a 9. So again, I've got a 9 here, which is about completion. So I have a card that's about change, and I have a card that's about completion. One is Eagle Spirit, and Eagle Spirit has your back. Eagle Spirit is about, my knowledge of an Eagle Spirit. Eagle Spirit is about connecting to the divine, having a really crystal clear connection, because eagles have really great vision. They are able to see long distances. So this is where I use my background knowledge that I know. But if you don't have it, go on what you can see. This eagle is, a regal bird that has a crown on its head, and it's poised to take flight. And it's telling me that it has my back. So I did say before that I felt like this spread was telling me about my, that I've got support in spirit. And then the next card is a Fox Spirit. And foxes, we know foxes are quick. We know they're cunning, but they have a really beautiful heart energy. Think on your feet. And this fox is definitely a feminine fox. So it's really delicate energy. Her eyes, I'm really being drawn to the eyes. So focus on what you're being drawn to. Sometimes you might be drawn to something else. But today I'm being really drawn to the eyes. The eyes are very intoxicating, and they're very romantic as well. So I need to take all this information. It might seem like it's arbitrary. It might seem like it doesn't make any sense. But this is the point where I just let it all wash over me. I don't go, oh, that doesn't work, throw it out. I just let all these random bits of information come in, because that's me allowing spirit to come in. So what are the underlying hidden influences here? So before I move on to the guidebook, it's telling me that spirit is guiding me through this process, that this movement is not only what's happening on a 3D level and things that I'm doing, but I'm also being guided through this process, but there will be some change happening. And think on your feet. Again, that really does suggest that change. Think on your feet. It means that I'm being told not to grow stagnant with whatever it is I'm doing, to keep changing things up, which is the top card. It's about change. Think on your feet. It means don't become stagnant and don't, really plod along. Foxes have little tiny feet and they're very agile. So that message there. So now that I've got those messages relating to this card position and what this card position is about, then I'm going to go to now this all feels really clunky. It feels like, you do this first and you do this. This all becomes very, very instantaneous. Your brain just focuses, and your divine, guides, they give you the information to focus on. So it's like, at the moment, this feels like you do this, then you do this, and then you do this, and to me, it's almost painful. But this is the long, protracted version of what you do very quickly in your own head. Spirit has your back with Eagle Spirit. Think of eagles flying high above other birds, soaring on the wind. Eagle Spirit has appeared to ask whether you're willing to soar to new heights. And that's something that I didn't get when I was looking at these. So this is talking about hidden messages, is am I ready to soar higher? And I love that. Even if that means solitude for a while, again, another little bit of information. Truly, all the wisdom of the world is available to you. When storms flash across the sky, it is Eagle Spirit that raises you above it all. helping you conquer fear and overcome adversity, reminding you that Spirit has your back and wants you to experience life at its fullest. At this moment, you are meant to know that you have the highest of wisdom and courage within you, gifted to you by Spirit and all the angels. Boldly build your nest in a lofty space and know that now you can fly effortlessly, proudly embodying eagle spirit in all her glory and grace, claiming what is truly yours in divine timing. Now see, the last bit of that, I wasn't really connecting with it, and I felt that I wasn't taking it in either. And I'm sharing with you so that you understand that you might read that whole bit and it may only be one sentence that you go, that's the message for me, and that's what you listen to. You don't go, I need to make the rest of this fit. Where's my nest? How am I going to have a nest up in the trees or whatever? You go with what you're being guided to pay attention to. So now I'm going to look at 27. Fox Spirit, think on your feet. Be alert now, for Fox Spirit has appeared and you are meant to move swiftly. So we have a lot of motion happening here. Let this clever spirit draw out your creativity as you adjust to rapidly changing circumstances with resilience, grace, and astuteness. Fox Spirit helps you think on your feet, using your best judgment and wits to help you slip into a more advantageous situation. Now is not a time to hesitate, but a time for swift action of the mind, a time to think outside the box and notice the many ways in which you might make a move. Aware of your surroundings and always clear on what you deserve and wish to co-create. Trust that your cleverness, guided by Fox Spirit, will serve you well. So again, we have quite a lot of swift action happening, but I'm not going to go into linking these cards yet. I want to do that when we've got all our positions sorted and we know what's happening in these positions. So our last position is, what do I need to do now to remain on this path, or course correct to remain in alignment with my highest good? So I'm assuming that this card is about my highest and best good, whichever way I take the reading. And this says watch and wait. So it's kind of like a message from Spirit that, you know, you're not necessarily going to get the information from this reading that you want. And sometimes that's kind of what you need to know, that some of this information isn't yet available to you. And if I look at the cards and the way that the colours are going, all of these three cards all have the blues, greens coming up into the oranges, and this card has the reverse. So the only card that's not giving me a lot of information is actually the reverse, and it's more about this sort of cool head, yeah? So that's the message I'm getting, about a cool head. Even though this is something I'm very passionate about, there needs to be this cool head when it comes, because you need to watch and wait. Seahorse Spirit, number 53, which is an 8. So 8s are about, you know, that sort of infinity, eternal. 8s are also can be about money and finances. So let's have a look at what it says. Hovering gracefully, the seahorse observes with the perspective of one who is not engulfed by the drama, remaining at a distance from all the turbulence. Seahorse Spirit appears at this time to remind you of the need to be neutral and gain perspective. Your message from Seahorse Spirit is, not my circus, not my monkeys. I love that message. Spirit wants you to know that even if you are tempted to jump into the fray and try to fix things, the best way to serve yourself and others right now is to remain calm and simply watch and see. Another message here is that whatever your query, the Seahorse Spirit asks you to step back from it. Be willing to explore things from different angles rather than a single one, and just observe what is possible. From the perspective of the position of the neutral observer, you will discover a myriad of opportunities and a deeper understanding of what you seek and why. And you will know beauty, truth, love, and wisdom. Now, see, the first part of that reading, or of that message, it had some relevance for me, but the second part made even more sense about stepping back and exploring things from a different angle. You know, if you think about a seahorse, they're kind of a quirky little creature. And I'm really noticing how much, you know, the head aspect is much bigger than the body. So it feels like there's some new thinking around this for me, and that talked about new ideas. So they're the messages that I'm getting. So now I want to put this all together. I want to help you understand how then you put all this together. Like we've got a really good understanding so far, but how do we then put this together in a story? Because that's basically what you're doing. You're telling a story with these cards. And how does the story evolve? And how do you not just jump from card to card so that you're making it up as you go along? Because sure, you can do that, and there are times you might do that. But to begin with, you need to have some sort of structure so you know where to go. So now going back to all of the information that we now have, the things that I saw myself, the things that the guidebook helped me see at a different level. Now, what is in motion, I understand, is that there is a lot in motion when it comes to my work with my YouTube channel, and that it's all happening. And so there's no stagnation or stuckness here, which I love. I love seeing that. So this is a good thing for me to know is, what's happening is it's in motion, it's moving. There's change happening, and, I need to be adaptive. I need to think on my feet, which again is the message from the fox. I need to think on my feet. And Eagle Spirit has asked me to think bigger, to have bigger plans. Am I ready to step up into that? And this second position was all about what are the underlying hidden influences here. So around my YouTube channel, am I ready to step into this? Am I ready to see that that big perspective, that higher perspective? Am I ready to fly high? So the hidden perspective is this: am I ready for what I want? And this one is be ready, be adaptive, think on your feet, feel quick on your feet. And then Seahorse Spirit comes in and says, and also take a step backwards, because there's a lot of movement here. There's a lot of asking me to, get fired up. And that's what I talked about. There's a lot of that blues moving into those sort of sacral chakra things, passion, energy, excitement. And these cards are all talking about my readiness. Am I ready for what it is that I want? And then Seahorse Spirit is coming in to stay in your highest alignment so that you don't rush forward and make silly mistakes. It's saying watch and wait. And I feel like I'm getting this message about new things coming in, new ways of thinking, and obviously new ways of doing things. But being ready and having, done some of this thinking while it's all in motion, while it's all happening. This is being ready and waiting, but it's also expanding your consciousness and your awareness about what it is you want, which is both of these cards here. But it's also understanding that there's more cool-headedness needed. And I am somebody who gets carried away with things. So this is actually a really great message for me to know that at the moment, what I need to do is step back a little bit and let things go in the way that they're going. And the other suggestion here was to explore things from a different angle. And so that opens up another possibility. And for me, that opens up another exploration. And I could do it through oracle cards or tarot cards or something else, or I could do it through journaling. I could do it through many ways. I could then leave these cards here and start another question if I wanted to. I could leave these cards out because I feel like they're the same question that I'm moving on with, but I'm wanting more clarity. So I'm going to leave it there today because I did get my answer. I got it. I got some good information, some new information that I wasn't aware of, and I also got some advice. So I want to thank my guides and everybody else for helping me get this information. Now, if I had done a spread where I didn't understand the information, because there is a card here that I would like to open up a bit more, and perhaps I probably will. But if you got some cards that you didn't understand what they are about, when you're new to reading multiple cards, sometimes it is put them back in the deck and start again. Sometimes that is a really great option. Other times, write it down, take a photo, and write what you get in your head. Write some of the messages that you get from the guidebook. Put it all in a couple of pages in a journal or just on a piece of paper. And also write your questions that are coming up. Why don't I understand this? What is it that's blocking me from seeing what this message is? And then let it sit. Let it sit for a day or two. And after a few days, if you haven't got any aha moments, if you haven't got any messages from the universe guiding you to some things, then perhaps you do need to redo it. Or perhaps you're not ready to hear the answers just yet. And when we're reading for ourselves, that's one of the biggest things that I think I come up with. I'll often put some cards down, and then when I'm looking at it, I'll get a block. And the block is simply, I just don't know what that means. Even when I'll then go to the guidebook, and I still don't understand how that relates to me, how that card position and the meaning relates to what I'm asking. And if that happens, you have a block around what it is that you're looking at. So then you might want to ask, how do I remove the block? Or see if you can relax yourself and allow yourself to be open to what it is that the cards and your guides want you to know about it. Because often they actually want to help us understand it, but it's us that's putting that block in the way. Thanks for watching this video today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up for me. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel if you're interested. There will be a fourth video, and it'll be the following Monday after you see this one. And that will be how I intuitively read. I've shared a little bit of how I do it today, but that was sort of instructive, and it was me trying to catch myself through those steps. The next video will be much more of where I'm drawn, how I'm drawn, what it is I'm seeing, how that information is being relayed to me. Not that it'll be quicker. It'll be hard for me to slow myself down because I haven't filmed it yet, but it'll be more so. I won't be using a guidebook unless I really feel called to at that time, but it'll be more so a bigger picture. How do I get meaning from a multiple card reading intuitively? So if you're interested in that, please make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you again for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.